the Lord is asking for your yes, and your breakthrough comes from step by step in a place of risk until you reach the other side. In fact, every step is a miracle. Every step is ground that you're taking that you did not have before. This is your word of the week with Prophetess Renae Tunu at the Church 24/7 International. And this week, we are focusing on July as we've already moved into it. And the Lord impressed upon my heart that this month is about building your faith. This is going to be a faith building month. So I hope that you've buckled your seatbelt and gotten ready for it, because it's going to be challenging in a way probably you didn't expect. The Lord brought me to Moses, as we've been talking about it. This is kind of a wrap up of June, but it's unfolding in July. And it is that Moses and the people of Israel were set up against the mountains, the Red Sea. And then, of course, Pharaoh came and pursued them, trying to bring them back into slavery after all the breakthrough they had just experienced in getting out of Egypt. So this is where the church is. There's a break out of Egypt that has happened. And there's been this movement all the way from January until June. And as we've moved through that, it's been a refining moment. It's been challenging. It's been, frustrating for some. It's right. We talked about the dry up of resources. We talked about the pinning up against a rock in a hard place, literally. We've talked about all the different things, the discouragement, the tiredness, the oppression, breaking free from an Egypt place as the church, because a church set free can set free the nations, but a church in bondage cannot give what it doesn't have. And so the Lord has positioned the church purposely so that not only can he get her out of bondage, but that he can actually remove the ties of bondage as well. So he positions Israel right there. And then he says to Moses to lift out his staff, and the Red Sea splits before them. This is where we find ourselves, church. This is a faith month. This is all about faith. This breakthrough that we've been prophesying, me and other prophets, and we've been talking about the breakthrough that was coming in June, beginning in June and continuing to unfold over about the next 3 months from June. And that as we're walking through that, there is this breakthrough. And so I think in the minds of some people, as they hear breakthrough, they think arrival. I know, like a couple weeks ago, I was talking about movement and a movement season, in that it's not an arrival place. It's actually a movement place, in that it isn't let's be here and let's go there. The actual breakthrough is the in between. And so that is what Israel does. They start walking across on dry ground. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking it would be a little scary every step of the way, going through this passage of Red Sea into another space. I'd be like, oh my gosh, it could crash down at any moment. Maybe God could release his hand. If he gets mad at us, I don't know. All the things that could be going on in your head. And that, I don't know, is this safe? Can I do this? Will he hold it? Will he stand? Will he keep us as we move through? This is incredibly risky. And that is where we're at, church. And that the Lord is asking for your yes. And your breakthrough comes from step by step in a place of risk until you reach the other side. In fact, every step is a miracle. Every step is ground that you're taking that you did not have before. So this is all about the yeses. And with every yes, you increase your faith. With every yes, you take another risk, but you increase your faith. I can remember as a child, like we used to kind of funny, but there was like a little a tunnel that went from my yard to across the street. It was the rainwater would go through there. And I can remember, like, we'd all be placing bets on who could get through the tunnel. Anyways, and so I decided to be the brave one. And I'm like, I'll do it. I can go across through the tunnel. And I can remember it's like, you get past the light from the opening of the tunnel, and then it begins to get dark. And then at some point, that light sort of disappears because you get far enough, but there's no real light ahead of you, and it's like pitch black in there. And you don't know what you're going to run into in a drainage pipe. I don't know what I was doing at 8, but anyways, so you get to a space where it's really dark, it's damp, it's wet, there's no bearings for anything except for the walls of the tunnel. And you get through that space, and it gets to be even a little bit more scary because now you're far enough from the entrance and you're far enough from your destination that it's really risky because you're in the in between. So I want to tell you, church, like, you're moving there. You're moving there. You're moving towards the in between. The more you say yes, the more risky it feels because you're far enough away from what seemed like safety, but you're not yet to a place of destination. And so the risk actually gets greater as you move along. If there had been a flash flood storm or a rain, that'd have been a terrible thing to get stuck in. Anyways, I did eventually get to the other side, and my sisters and all the neighborhood kids were sitting there over the drain ready for me to be like, oh my gosh, she did it. Yeah, anyways, and then I practically ran to get out of it. But I just give that as an example in that you're taking risks. You're taking risks with every yes. But let me tell you, your breakthrough comes in your yeses. The fullness of the breakthrough wasn't realized until they reached the bank of the other side. It wasn't in the middle. It wasn't in the, okay, yeah, let's do this and see if it works. It was a progressive yes. It was a moment by moment yes. It was a moment by moment leading and moving forward and going with what you knew the Spirit was telling you. So your risk factor gets greater as you move away from the bank. It's not going to get easier. It's actually going to feel more risky. But with every step, you're building your faith. And at some point, I can remember where I could see the light ahead from the grate that was in the sidewalk, and knowing, okay, it's just over there. And then I grew in momentum and boldness, and the fear of being in the in between space of the yeses and the risks began to disappear because I had my bearings again. And so that is what is unfolding for you. Your breakthrough is in the yeses. Your breakthrough is coming as you move. So it's not a transition like from here to here. It's in the movement of the in between that the fullness of this breakthrough is unfolding for you. And God is building your faith with every yes. And He's testing what you believe about Him with every yes. Because, like I said, it feels more risky as you move forward. And then you really have to believe that God's for you and that He said what He said and that He'll follow through with what He said He'll follow through with, and that He will indeed hold back the waters while you pass through. So I bless you into that, church. I bless you to be brave and say yes. I bless you to take on your breakthrough by saying yes to the leading and the guidance of the Spirit, to be brave and risky in this moment. This is calling for a level of boldness. And I believe that God is giving permission to the church to be bold in this hour, because this is about, in some level, confronting the enemy. because as Pharaoh was pursuing them and demanding their slavery, they were actually confronting that by moving forward into what seemed like the impossible. Let God contend with Pharaoh. Let God deal with Pharaoh. God will drown him as you're saying yes. God is going to make the things that choked the life breath out of you in your past seasons, He's going to take care of that by your yes. And you know what? Eventually, there will be so much space between you and that it's no longer a threat to you anymore. And then there's true freedom. So I bless you into that. I bless you into true freedom. I bless you into that breakthrough. I bless you into that bold, risk taking faith that grows from glory to glory, from faith to faith. I bless you to be moved. I bless you to not fall into the safeties of the shore and to not look back as you begin to move through the waters. He will be with you as you pass through the waters, as Psalm says. And I bless you into that. This is not the time to go backward. This is not the time to look backward. And I bless your eyes to be set forward on him, that your face would be set like flint. I bless you to be so directed and focused that there's no other choice for you but your yes. Grab onto it and move forward, church, and see the salvation of your God. So bless him, church, and worship him. It says as they did and they reached the other side, there was a song of worship that was released. So I pray that you don't forget who takes you through this, and you don't forget the one that is faithful, and he'll never disappoint. So I bless you into that, church. It's been a joy to have you today. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you to be strengthened. I'm praying for you that as God speaks to your spirit and he speaks to your heart, that you would be solidified in your faith like you never have been before. That all he has will be released into your hands, because inheritance is him. And it will come as you grab hold of the greater understanding of who he is to you. And that intimate relationship, that's where it all unfolds. So I bless you into that. If this blessed you, I hope that you'll share it. I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll like and follow and do the things and get this into somebody else's hands that they can be encouraged by it also. I bless you to be built up in your most holy faith as God is challenging you. This again was Prophetess Renae Tunu. Bless you, and I'll see you next time.